coming back to the Premier League as things kick off on Friday night, Manchester United against Leicester City. And we're happy to tell you that the Wednesday Club will be here with you throughout the whole of the Premier League season.
Oh, fantastic. My children will eat.
Your children will eat. We've had a wonderful time last season, and if you were there with us, you can imagine that Steve was sort of in the doom and gloom, so was Alex Boardman, who are our Manchester United correspondents.
Yeah.
Hello, Steve.
Hello, Joe.
And then
Hello, Cheese Man.
One man had a smile on his face from start to finish. He was Ian Cheeseman. Ian, you'll be joining us every week looking after Manchester City side of things. Everyone all right? We all good?
Absolutely.
I got a new bed. Did you hear it?
You got a new bed?
No, that's radio terms. You know. Well, I got a new
seen
bed.
that relationship. I know that.
I've moved house.
Yes, I know. You moved house.
I've got
needed a new bed. Well, hey, it's going really well.
Water bed.
It is water bed. Before
it was after
twice. Let's not get into this. I want to talk quickly before we move on to our talking points about your summers. Ian, you made it clear that the summer for you is now kind of over. As soon as the final game ends and the first game begins, that is your summer.
Yeah.
Even though we're on the 8th of August, you know, summertime's over for you.
Absolutely. And the weather forecast is that it's going to deteriorate a bit now anyway in this country, isn't it? I know it's like about 50 degrees if you're off to Spain, but over here I think it's going to dip a little. So, as soon as the football's back, it feels to me as if that's it, summer done.
Tell us about your summer then, Ian, because you were in America following City.
Do you class that as part of a holiday?
I spent most of my summer in America, it felt like. I went for 3 weeks on a family holiday, which was something of sort of once in a lifetime type of thing.
So your family only go on holiday once in a lifetime, is what you're saying? I imagine it's that reasonable.
You went to the West Coast and seen places like San Francisco, LA and Vegas and all. Now that is something you don't do all the time. And then I went on pre-season and I got a sponsor for the vlogs that I do, and I went out and
took him 4 minutes to get his vlogs in. That's a record.
Slow for
James, you won the way.
So your family went back home and then you stayed out there doing...
No, I came home for 10 days and
then went back out?
Then went back again.
Oh, okay.
So how was the trip?
Body clock, I'm still not right with my body clock. I went to Chicago. City played the first friendly over there against Dortmund. Then on to New York, where they played Liverpool, and then on to Miami, where they played Bayern Munich. And met lots and lots of City fans in these different cities. Some of them were expats, some of them were proper Yank fans. Loads of passion, loads of friendliness, loads of enthusiasm, despite the fact that the squad that City sent out there was basically... an EDS or a youth team or under-21s, whatever you want to say. There were a couple of the more senior players that went out there. Sane, for example.
But he didn't play in the World Cup, so he needed to get on the pitch, really, didn't he?
Exactly. Although he didn't play every minute of every game, and there were a lot of youngsters, clearly Phil Foden and Brahim Diaz got opportunities, Lucas Nemecha and people like that.
Yeah.
And we saw them. And it was just a fantastic experience. I loved every minute of it. It's very tiring, obviously, going from one place to another and sitting on the apron of an airport when the other one at the other end is closed because of bad weather for 3 or 4 hours isn't much fun, is it?
The jet lag going backwards, I've noticed, is just, that's the worst going. It's horrendous, isn't it?
Yeah, so we've got to jet lag already.
Anybody listening to this is thinking, I wish, who can't afford to do this or isn't lucky enough to be able to go, I wish I could suffer from jet lag. So I'm not going to moan about jet lag, right? Although it was pretty horrendous.
The fact that these people have even got a radio.
Steve,
they're doing well.
How was your summer then?
We went to... it's still summer for me. It's August. My fun does not stop until about, I'd say, October time, when it really dips the weather.
You're in shorts, by the way, tonight. Are you in shorts? I never noticed.
Nah, jeans. I'm in jeans. Why are we in shorts?
Me and Steve are in shorts because it's still the summer.
Still summer. We went to Skiathos.
Just take your pants off, shall I?
We went to Skiathos during the England World Cup campaign.
Yes, tell me about that.
And
Hang on, Skiathos, is that where they film Mamma Mia?
It is, yeah.
Wow, Mamma Mia!
But Mamma Mia 2 was filmed in Croatia. But you didn't know?
Yeah,
do you know that?
Yeah,
okay.
I've seen the film. I saw it in America a couple of times.
Oh, right, a couple of times.
Mr.
Big Mamma Mia fan.
You are the biggest ABBA fan.
Yeah.
Have you thought about doing an ABBA vlog?
Yeah, I have thought about doing that.
Yeah, can you just keep that thought in your head and just leave it there, please? For the love of God and all.
I want to know.
I was watching England abroad. It was a great campaign.
The ridiculous thing was, we went to Skiathos 8 years ago, and we had an issue where England were playing then in the World Cup, and that was when we got dumped out by Germany, I think it was.
Lampard.
It was embarrassing. I think it was the one where Rooney was moaning at the, can't believe your fans are booing us. Yeah, we can, mate. It was horrendous. So this is 8 years on, same island, and we got the same issue. She was like, I don't think we should really watch England. And then it got to the point...
Was this the Croatia game that
It was
you
the
watched?
Belgium game.
Belgium game, right.
Oh, okay.
I had to do a deal with my wife.
Which one?
Which
Well,
wife?
there were two Belgium. No, which Belgium game?
Don't let us...
The one
I don't
in
want to go into
Chadderton,
your private life.
Not the one in Croatia.
The one where they got beat, the first Belgium game.
Yeah, I had to do a deal with my wife that she could, after the night out drinking and watching England, we could go back and stream Love Island on holiday. The thing is, the Wi-Fi in the hotel
Love
was
Island,
that
weren't you?
bad. I had to leave my phone outside on the balcony, and I had to stream that 4G signal into my iPad. It cost me 50 quid.
No.
I had to unlock the European block that Vodafone put it so we could watch the rest of Love Island. It cost me 50 quid. And on top of that, guess what? It was B teams. It was Belgium. I watched the most boring game.
Yeah, when they got
Dead
beat.
rubber cost you 50 quid.
Yeah, it was horrendous, mate. It was horrendous. It wasn't as bad as the 8 years ago when England were awful, because now I'm in love with England again. Are we all in love with England
Yeah,
again?
but here's what I'm going to get into.
Cheeseman.
What is our...
I didn't see any of it. I was in the States on an 8
didn't
time
watch it.
difference. Didn't watch it.
You and everyone that was in that Love Island are the only people that didn't watch England,
didn't
mate.
watch England. This is what I wanted to
Hang
bring
on,
up.
just let me get this straight. When I was stood on the side of the Grand Canyon,
Whatever.
right, watching that.
That's
right,
not going to go anywhere, though, isn't
and
that?
England
thing?
are playing Colombia. Do you think I'm going to be stood there streaming for 50 quid while I'm stood on the edge of the Grand Canyon?
I couldn't be bothered if you were stood in...
You could be one for his name.
I couldn't be bothered if you stood in front of your grand's garden.
Right, let's get on to what I
You
want.
didn't watch England and you should have done.
Is our main talking point at the start of the show, because although he might have not watched it, what happened during the summer is we sort of fell in love with the game of football, not just the people who love football throughout the whole season, the old, the young, the people, my gran, everyone sort of fell in love with the game of football because England sort of did well. Groups of fan bases came together, you could applaud, United fans could appreciate Sterling, could appreciate
Did
Walker.
that really happen? Seriously?
City fans could appreciate
I don't get that feeling from social media. I wasn't watching it, but I got the feeling there was still a lot of antipathy, and that fans of United would struggle to support Sterling.
I'd only say some, and I'd only say some are just little. The people who wanted to be a pain were a pain during the World Cup. That's what I think it was.
So Steve was in his element.
Whereas I think a lot of people just sort of put the differences to one side, and we appreciated Tottenham players for a couple
Harry
of weeks.
Kane.
The
The golden boot. I mean, what a way to get it.
What a way to get it.
Can we take the mick out of that? Yeah,
course,
because it was a
later
load
on.
of penalties and stuff, wasn't it?
And then as soon as the World Cup finished and we were out, we weren't out in sorrow. We kind of a round of applause to the guys for what they did over there. And the build up to the Premier League is I've never felt like people want it more. Maybe not United fans, but I felt like the love of the game was strong then, and people just want, if you're in Championship or League One, League Two, if you play football just on the park, etc. People wanted football in their lives, and we are only a matter of days away before it returns to the Premier League. It's obviously returned in the lower leagues. So I just wanted to talk about football and your first love of the game. Now make sure I get this right. When did you first fall in love with the game of football? I want you to text me 87711. Give us a call 0345 111 7625. Put it out on Twitter. Got a lot of responses. I'll get to them soon. But Steve, when you first locked eyes with football.
Well, it's hard, isn't it? Because I had football in my life, all my life from childhood, and you grow up with it. I was playing football as a kid. Occasionally we get the chance to go to United games. I was always United were the best team ever. Couldn't afford a kit, so we bought a red shirt. My mum stitched this United badge on it. It looked like the most horrendous thing you could ever, but it was my United shirt. We managed to make one out of nothing. And then we used to go to Scotland. My granddad was a physio at Dundee United many, many years ago, so we used to pop in there, watch a few games there. I used to love watching football. Some teams I used to hate playing for, like Carver Cubs. I didn't like the manager there, or Lane Juniors was a bit of a struggle sometimes. But every now and again, like my Italia 90, I would say. for me, the most significant standout moment in football when I was growing up, and that's a little bit older, was Italia United with Gazza, Lineker, New Order, all that stuff. It was just a great, great tournament. Got to the semis, got dumped out by West Germany on penalties, and we ended up... The thing we ended up with was a match of the day pundit. About that was it, and then
and that was
a never-ending story of poor Gazza. But that was it.
Did them players stick out with you then? Any players that from United from them days that stuck out as maybe heroes for you?
Brian Robson for me was just like the greatest. I just love watching Robson. And then when it got to the class of '92, it was Beckham. I used to love watching Beckham, but Robson, I used to think he was the great. I mean, he was the captain. He was amazing. I had his shin pads. I had Robson. They were like massive, like you would like. I don't know what you'd do, like Ninja Wars in them or something. They were like massive, heavy things. But I used to love Robbo. He was amazing. Yeah.
Ian, for you.
Well, obviously, I'm a little bit older, so just like Steve,
Stanley Matthews.
I grew up loving football, so I can't put my finger on when it started. It's just one of them things.
Yeah.
And I used to have one of them swing ball things in the back garden that Peter Barnes used to endorse, where you kicked this ball on it went round. Remember
don't know
those
what
things?
you're on about.
Giant tennis, like a giant tennis ball, but
yeah. So I remember that. Anyway, for me, the first game I attended was in 1970, and I remember the World Cup of 1970 very vividly, because that was the World Cup when Brazil won against Italy 4-1 in the final, and the team had Jairzinho, Rivellino, Tostão, Pele, those types of players were in that team, and it was just magnificent to watch. And who'd have thought that all these years later I'd be watching a City team which is actually not a million miles away from that type of football. It is absolutely what I dreamed of as a kid. And actually, when I see now, and there've been a few at City, obviously Alano and Robinho, Glauber Berti, there have been Brazilian players that have played for City. I thought you might get more reaction from Glauber Berti. He played 10 minutes after taking a throw.
You looked at me like you made it up.
But Fernandinho plays for them, and Jesus and Edison.
Alano.
Brazilian. As I mentioned, Alano.
You've had a painful wait for that team, though.
But it's come.
I know.
Those pages.
Joe, was he Brazilian? Joe,
absolutely.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Giovanni,
and now you're here.
Dia Don Coma Doodle. Just stop saying names.
We got some tweets in. Abdul Devil on Twitter says World Cup '98. A guy called Manthan said, when I first watched David Silva play, and I headed over to Manthan's Twitter account, and their pinned tweet is a picture with him and the lovely Ian Cheeseman.
Really?
He's from Florida. You might have met him on your travels. Bella says that in 1988, my mum took me to Main Road, and it was the day I fell in love with City. And Lisa says, early 70s, and I'm still a Liverpool fan to this day. Well, cheers, Lisa. We won't, say anything more about that.
To Manchester.
Mine was when I was 2002, and I was 7, and we were sitting in the primary school. Gathering round, it was Brazil in the World Cup, and we were playing Brazil, in the World Cup, and we were gathering around, and I just love the fact that everyone's together doing the same thing, and I love that whenever big matches are on, you can invite friends from all different, friends that might not all support the same team, but you get together, you get to see them, and it's the starting point for people to come together and meet. If it's a drink, to eat, whatever, that's why I first fell in love with it, and I'll always love it, and I love this summer just because, not necessarily because of the football, because of the players who are playing it, just because it sort of brought people together a bit, and that was mega. And I think
it's the fans that make football.
Yeah.
I know that better than anybody else, especially when I'm doing what I'm doing these days, which I won't mention. But I do talk to a lot of fans. Well, he's mentioned it again. That's twice he's mentioned it in 17 minutes. I meet fans, and I've been a fan all my life, and that is actually what football's really about.
What I will say is now, what's happened with England is, yes, I think the millennials have finally realised what is so amazing about football. It's unscripted, unpredictable, and you can sit down with a Brazilian fan or a Croatian fan and have equally as good an experience. If you're not with, these idiots that were ruining games in the 80s and 70s and stuff like that. Hopefully that's all moved on, and people were just behind the World Cup in general, but it was so nice to see everyone behind England. It was the best.
In international football at the World Cups, you do see a lot more of different supporters of different teams in their colours sitting next to each other. And I know we're very, very tribal in this country, and we have this massive rivalry and anger towards our opponents, as it were. But I wish we could, it's never going to happen, but I wish it could go back to those days where you could sit with an opposition fan and have a bit of friendly banter, like we're doing here. You're a red, I'm a blue. We don't have a problem.
No.
You know? We don't let anybody
just sit outside the studio.
A medical problem, maybe.
I should be able to sit next to you.
Medical problem.
I should be able to sit next to you or Alex when he's here and watch a game and have a laugh and talk about it and not have a problem. Why do people get so...
We're bringing the Wednesday Club is bringing everything together. I want to give a shout out to Mum and Dad who are listening all the way in Spain.
Hey,
they're still in Spain. And Kira as well. Gentlemen, did you miss this music?
Oh, we're back. We're back. This is
We've got a brand new game for you.
When did you know we were back? When that music came on.
It's called the attendance game. It's very, very simple. I'm going to tell you some fixtures that happened over the weekend, and you're going to tell me after the break what had the most attendance. Don't know where I think I'm up. The championship was on this weekend, so I'm going to go over to you, Ian.
Right.
You're going to get two. You're going to write down which one you think's what. You ready?
Okay.
Do you think it was Bristol City against Nottingham Forest that ended in a 1-1 draw, or was it West Brom versus Bolton that ended 2-1 to Bolton? Steve.
Yeah.
Here's two for you. Who had the highest attendance? Was it Millwall versus Middlesbrough?
Oh, okay.
Or was it Wigan versus Sheffield United? What attendance was higher? Gentlemen and people listening at home, make sure you get that written down. Text me in your answers, 87711, and your first love of football. These gents are going to have about 3 minutes to figure it out. It's not the hardest game in the world. Have you done it already? Yeah. Coming up, we're going to be speaking about actual football because the season isn't far away. What are you two doing? You can't confer.
He can't. He's trying to copy off me, but we've got a different...
I'm not looking at it.
We've got different
How
matches.
Can you copy?
He's drawn stars and things on it, like.
Says the man who brings in a book with all these... His thoughts.
It's the book of thoughts, mate.
It's the book of thoughts. The book
Don't
of thoughts.
Don't besmirch the book of thoughts.
Finds a blank bit of paper.
Coming up, we're going to be talking about the Premier League. It is return. I'm turning you down. It's returning on Friday. We're going to be bringing you all the latest in the preview. Wednesday Club. We'll be talking about the preview of the Premier League. It returns, and we will return. Stop coughing. Right after this.
Ever had one of those days?
Welcome back. This is the Wednesday Club. Just getting the poll of the day ready for you. This is a question we're going to do every single time the Wednesday Club is on, so you can get involved in the show.
The question: 3 of us. How many is that going? Oh, are the listeners involved?
The listeners are involved in the show, and if you don't know who that gob is, it's Ian Cheeseman and Steve Shanyaski. This is the Wednesday Club. Gentlemen, let's go to our game, the attendance game. It was a very simple one, I thought, but which got the most attendance for you? Ian Cheeseman.
My games were Bristol City against Forest, West Brom, Bolton.
Who had the most attendance?
On the face of it, you might go for West Brom, but I'm going to go for Bristol City.
That's what I was going to go for.
You're going to go for Bristol City. Unfortunately, you're wrong.
Oh.
West Brom, 25,000. Bristol City, only 22. Steve.
This Cheeseman during the break said this is easy, this.
Steve,
no,
you
said yours was easy.
All right, then we gave up this. Right. Millwall versus Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
Wigan versus Sheffield. Which was attended?
I'm going to go Millwall versus Borough.
What would you have gone for, Cheese It?
Millwall.
You're right. So, Steve, the first competition of the game, you've taken it.
Yours was easy.
Right, I'm going to do our poll of the day, and it's a very simple one.
This, by the way, is pre-season, so it doesn't count in the league.
Oh, yes, it does. Steve's winning.
It does if you're a Twitter troll.
Who will concede?
They go mad for pre-season.
Poll of the day. Who will concede more goals in the Premier League this season? Will it be David De Gea or will it be Edison? You've got 25 minutes to cast your votes, and we will be reading the results out at the end of it. Who'd you be voting for, Ian?
I'm mostly going to say David De Gea, aren't I?
Oh, what are you going to say, Steve?
I'm going to say Edison.
Well, there we go.
And I'll tell you my reasons why is that, yes, City will score more, but they'll concede more. That's my theory.
And I don't think United will have as good a season as they did last, so they'll concede more goals.
I like your fighting talk. Let's tell you about a little something that we're going to have for next week's show, because I should have ordered it when I was on holiday, but I forgot. It's going to be...
Try that old new bed out, isn't it?
Yeah, the new bed. Popped it. It's going to be a Wednesday Club phone. You're going to have the number to it, and you can call it whenever you like.
Can we ring it as well?
You can ring it. You can ring it. I'm pointing at people in the office. Anyone can ring this number and leave a voicemail. We obviously won't be on the other end of it, but you can leave any voicemail you want. I'm not saying it's going to get played out on air, but say United get beat, or City get beat, or United win, City win. You want to leave us a rant, you want to leave us some praise, you get stuck in traffic, you want to ask Ian a question, you want to ask Steve a question, you want to ask me a question, you want to slag Ian off, you want to slag Steve off.
Ask Alex a question.
Draw a line at the slagging thing.
There is going to be a phone for you to call. The number will be come public. I think I'm going to get it tomorrow. So the number will be on Twitter tomorrow. You can call it whenever you want. Getting it ready for the first game, because who knows, United could get beat by Leicester in the first game, and the voicemails will come flying in. So we'd like you to get involved. If you ever want to be on the Wednesday Club, when the number is live, we'll make sure we get it to you. We'll definitely be on Twitter and Facebook. Leave us voicemails, whatever you want to say. You want to be part of the Wednesday Club this season. Okay, gents. Time to talk about the series football, I guess.
Really?
The game is kicking off on Friday. United against Leicester.
Steve,
then the first sort of roll of the dice goes to you, Steve. How are you feeling going into
I feel a little bit knotted in my stomach. This transfer window thing is driving me absolutely insane. I would have thought United would have got all the business done, and maybe they have. Maybe the purchase of Fred and the other characters that they bought before the World Cup or whatever it was, is all the deals that they wanted. But surely we need some stronger in defence. And now you've got these rumours, Pogba wants to go, this, that and the other. I've got a theory that all deals are done and everyone is just getting wound up because there's nothing else to talk about right now. Mm-hmm. All the press and everything are just looking for some clickbait for the websites and all this stuff. I get the feeling the deals are done, unless they sign Alderweireld or Maguire or something like that. But surely you would know before the World Cup that you wanted that player. What I liken it to is Valentine's Day. You got to buy a card for the Mrs. Cheeseman before she became Mrs. Cheeseman, Miss whatever it was.
Still get them now when we're married.
Miss Man City 1976. Anyway, you ever tried to buy a Valentine's card on Valentine's Day? Not possible. All that's left is the worst things or the most expensive, useless cards, and that is exactly what the transfer window is like. You leave it this late, you're not going to get the deal that you want. And that's where we're at with it. And it's doing my head in.
And it is a great analogy. Yeah. So you're saying that going into the game, you're 50-50. If I was to say to you that you've got the same squad...
United are going to win. Look at the squad's amazing. The squad is amazing. Pogba, Fred...
Still nothing about Fred,
yeah, he's Fred. It's a Fred lad.
Fred, Dave,
Fred lad.
Jim,
it's Fred
Steve.
lad, isn't it? He didn't need to play for the World Cup because he's that good. You got Rashford on the right wing now, number 10. He's a new number 10. This is all the big excitement thing. Rashford is new number 10. You know what I mean? Well, he's got a new number on his strip, but is he going to be able to finish? That's the question. Because that was the issue last season, not finishing. So putting a new number on his shirt means he's going to finish, then I'm happy. You've got Lukaku, who's very good, very strong, but let's hope that big horse doesn't tire like he seems to do. Can't put 90 minutes in the running about. De Gea should be the best paid United player. Yeah. Oh, and you got Sanchez on the left wing, but drop him back because the defence isn't strong enough and all this stuff. So, yes, we're going to beat Leicester. It's not going to be an issue. It'll be 2-0 or something like that. But what we've got transfer window tomorrow, 5 o'clock, I think it is. We got to buy someone else.
Don't know if it's going to happen. Transfer deadline day.
Checkbook club. That's all they're interested in.
Checkbook club.
Mahrez. Why have you even bought Mahrez? You don't need him. What do you need? A right winger who can do a bit of a dance with the football. You don't need that. I don't know why you've bought him.
You might as buy.
You might as well buy.
But we're not. City are not trying to buy the title this season, are they? They've got young players coming through. They've got Gomez. They've got Louise. These two young kids who you don't know much about yet, but they'll burst onto the scene. You've got Foden. You've got Diaz.
Well, this leads on to one of my questions then for you, Ian. I'll ask you first. You're confident going into this season then? You know, a City going to do... How do you see it going?
Well, first of all, they're not going to get 100 points. They're not going to break the records because that is just not going to happen. There's going to be a lot of pressure on this season to emulate what they did last year, and there'll be some in the media who are out to get them. So if they drop some points early on, they'll be gunning for them because they aren't doing what they did last season. But actually, I think keeping a steady squad, players who understand, bringing youth in, young players who've been brought through the system to try and play in the same team. And although it was only pre-season, when I was out in the States, I watched the young players playing exactly the same way that the first team play, which makes it so much easier for those players when they are ready to come in and play. And there are players who will come in and will be ready. I'm very, very confident that City will have an exceptional season again. I believe they'll win the league. Whether they'll win it by as many points as last season, as many goals and all the rest of it, I very much doubt it. But I think they'll win the league again.
I'm renowned for speaking with honesty, which is why I'm here, and this is what I'm going to do. The issue I have is it doesn't seem like United have done that much to improve the team to get to.
You just named Fred and
yeah, Fred lad. Do you know what I mean? He's great. He's good there, but I don't know. but it's not like we've signed what I would consider something that would make you cry out. He's that good. Do you know what I mean?
Seriously. Just going out and signing expensive players isn't always the be-all and end-all, is it?
This is why I'm saying the deal should have been done before the World Cup, because you would know where the holes are in your team, and you would plug those holes before, like way in advance. You'd buy the Valentine's card way in advance. Get a good price, get the right card. Do you know what I mean? So this is what my worry is with United. They're running around now.
Join that Valentine's card thing, though. Is it not a case of, it's not that the card goes up in value or they're scarce. It's actually that the only ones that are left are crummy cards.
Or the really expensive,
and so when you get
ones,
to this stage, and there's only 24 hours, you end up getting whoever's left. Who some other club are desperate to get money for, not the player you want.
Yeah, this is why I use that analogy. It's exactly like that. You should have had it all done months ago, and that's what's worrying me now.
Well, it's a worrying time because, as you say, tomorrow's the final day. So if United want to strengthen, they've got to do it soon. City done. I don't think anything is going to happen, Ian. You know, that is, all done with. Pep is happy with his squad, as you'd see. The question that we'd want to ask for you, Ian, is the player that you're going to keep an eye out for the most this season, someone that you think will go on and have an absolute worldie of a season, could even win player of the season for City. Who's going to stand out?
This time last year, I actually picked out the player I'm going to pick out this year as well.
Okay.
Bernardo Silva, who was new to the fold last year. And he did have a very good season. Actually played he came on as a substitute a lot of the games.
Right winger. He's a right winger, isn't he?
Well, he's
right
a central midfielder. He can play on the right.
Do a lot.
He's very much in the David Silva type mould, or nobody's exactly like David Silva.
That's Mahrez's position. That's the only reason why I'm bringing it up.
I think Bernardo will play more central. No, I don't think they're competing for the same position. I think he'll play more central. I think Mahrez might be competing with, occasionally, Raheem Sterling. And if you believe the rumours, I don't know whether to believe them or not, that he's asking for more money, then that's a way of forcing the issue with Raheem Sterling. But I think Bernardo Silva has all the skills. All right, it was pre-season, but he was the star player out in the States. He was a star player at Wembley. And I know he's got undoubted skill. He is the heir apparent to David Silva when he eventually moves on. And I think he's got huge season ahead of him, and he's the one I'd go for.
For you, Steve, someone that you're going to be quite keen on keeping your eye on at Manchester United, apart from Fred, obviously,
Fred lad,
who's going to have a good season for United.
I want Lingard to have a good season. I want him to go from the strength that he developed last year. I want him to go on to be like just this central attacking flighty midfielder that just comes on and wreaks havoc. What I noticed when he was playing in England was all the set pieces and stuff. He was usually a key part of it. They said one thing, we practiced that at the weekend, and they scored straight from it and stuff like The guy has got great memory for sort of free kicks. He's got the speed. He's got the finishing as well, stuff like that. So yeah, I want to see Lingard go up another level.
Will he though? That's the question.
Well, I'm going to say Willie to
stop saying Willie. Can everyone stop saying Willie?
Will
and
he?
We'll all get on with the day.
I thought Caballero played well at the weekend for Chelsea. No, I think Bernardo Silva will have that season. I'm not hoping he will have it. I think he will.
I think
Lingard.
Yeah, he will. Yeah,
Right,
that's what I'm just going to say. Just to be completely stubborn about it.
For you, Ian, a question
What
for
else
you.
am I going to say?
A question for both of you now. This is one you can have a think of, Steve. You say that City might win the league. Who are the 3 teams going to be underneath you then?
Well, you've got to look at Liverpool.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they last season got better. And obviously the confidence they'll have got from getting to the Champions League final. They brought a couple of players in, okay, not sure how quickly they'll settle, but you've got to look at them. And then I suppose United, because of what they did last year, might be the team that are just below City and Liverpool at the top.
Yeah, and I again, I'll have to speak with honesty. I'm worried about Liverpool because now they've got Alisson. They got rid of Karius, you know what I mean, or getting rid of him.
Well, he's still there, but
Alisson's come in, who's allegedly Brazil's number 1 over Edison. You know what I mean? Another. They've plugged that gap, which was the one thing that lost them the Champions League. Do you know what I mean? That buffoonery in goal was what cost it.
Well, what about? Do you not go by the concussion thing then?
no.
What on the snap, the left arm, Hazard's left arm, whatever it was, or whoever it was.
How do you
So
mean
you're not
Salah
going with
on
that?
Salah?
Salah, yeah, Salah's the arm
Hazard.
thing. Yeah, so
that did throw me a bit when you said that.
I was wondering where
no,
you
but it was
So,
Karius.
wait, who are your 3? You said Liverpool and United. Who's the third one? Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, looking at Chelsea and new coach and different methods.
Did you
and
think
everything,
much of Chelsea on the
I
weekend?
thought they were
I thought
poor.
they were a bit poor.
And they might get stronger,
Yeah.
but it might take them a little while. They might have lost a bit of ground by then. Tottenham have got this transition where they're going to play a couple of games at Wembley, then they're going to move into the new stadium, and they're just not. They're never quite there, are they? Arsenal have got a new coach. They're going through a bit of turmoil. So I don't really see any threat coming from anywhere else. I do see United behind the scenes. It feels instinctively things are not right there. With the
It feels
rumours.
very Mourinho third season.
Yeah.
It was Ramos I was talking about, but that's the issue. That's the issue I've got is the Mourinho
Ramos and Hazard, very similar players. I can understand the mix.
Yeah.
So you've got for you.
It's the vibe at United. I know it's all press trying to find sound bites and stuff for the papers, but Mourinho is a moody, miserable character, and surely that rubs off onto the players.
So therefore, you've got 2 teams in the Premier League who seem to be fairly steady and happy camps, and those are City and Liverpool. And then the rest of them at the moment, I don't really see anything consistent and solid. But under Mourinho, it tends to be that he can make his team consistent, not give goals away. So I can't see them being far away, but I don't see them making a title push.
For you, Steve, then, just quickly before we go to a break, who's going to win the league?
What are you doing to me?
Who's going to win the league?
Well, unless anything drastically has changed, it's probably going to be City.
And then who's going to be in the top 4?
United.
Oh, yeah, United.
Liverpool.
And your 4th one?
And I'm going to go for Arsenal, just as a complete... because Chelsea are in a nightmare situation. Spurs are floating about, but I think that sort of Liverpool, that London thing, I think of those 2, Arsenal are going to come through with Unai Emery really trying to prove something.
We're going to take a break, but after the break, we're going to be talking about our Team of the Week. Our Team of the Week is a brand new feature where we're going to select a team that is out in Greater Manchester, that are bringing football to their community. If it's the under-7s, under-8s, under-9s, we're going to be speaking to a man called Matthew Orne, whose dad, Stan Orne, you know very well, used to play for Manchester City. He is the secretary at Ramsbottom, and we'll be speaking more to Matthew right after this.
Excess Manchester.
Afternoon, my name is Joe McGrath. Big shout out to Lucy who's listening in Spain. She's a big fan of the Wednesday Club, says she loves the show. Glad we're back. We are back. My name is Joe McGrath. I'm here every Wednesday for you with Steve Shenyaski. Hello, Steve.
Hello.
And Ian Cheeseman. Hello, Ian.
You all right?
I'm all right. You're okay. Do you want to leave early?
No, got another holiday,
detention. Right, this is a brand new feature for the Wednesday Club, and it's something we decided to do because we talk about the big money makers in football, but we look at the grassroots side of it. And we want to dedicate a little section of the show to not to brand new clubs, but to clubs that are out in the Greater Manchester area that are bringing football to the heart of the community. We want you to submit your team. So if you've got a son who plays for someone, if you play for someone on a Sunday, whatever it is, submit your team on Twitter at XS Manchester, and we'll get them on for a chat. We should have a guy called Matthew on the phone. Hello, Matthew.
Hello, good evening, chaps.
It's quite formal, that, Matthew. Can I call you Matt?
You can, yeah.
How you doing, Matt? You well?
Really good, mate. Yeah, not bad at all, thanks.
Matt,
yeah,
you are our first team of the week, but can you tell me the team of the week who you are? Does that make sense?
Yeah, we are Ramsbottom United Junior Football Club.
Correct. How did he know that?
That's
He's got that right, didn't he?
Now, tell me, Ramsbottom United, what age range does it go from? Because I spoke to you before, and there is lots of different teams at Ramsbottom.
Well, we were founded about 10 years ago, and we've grown over those years to about 40 teams now, from under-6s right through to under-21s, including a growing girls section now, which is good to see. And we provide football to about 400 children and young adults in the area. We're in the north of the borough of Bury, near the Greater Manchester-Lancashire border, and we have teams playing in a few different divisions, like the Bolton and Bury District Football League, the North Bury Junior Football League, East Lancs Football Alliance, and the East Manchester Junior Football League.
And you're in charge of all them. You're in charge of over 40 teams as the secretary.
It's a lot of work, yes. It takes up a lot of my time, and it's like a full-time job on top of a full-time job. But, I love it, and that's why I do it. So I get great pleasure out of it, and, it's great to be a part of it.
I think one of the points why we wanted to get this on is because we wanted to give clubs like you a bit of a plug. So if there is any way people could get involved in Ramsbottom FC that are in the area and might want to get down, you encourage people to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd like to include as many people as possible, whether you're good, bad, or indifferent.
That'll be me, the last one.
We can sort you out, don't worry. But yeah, you can contact us through our website, which is ramiutdjfc.co.uk.
We'll make sure we tweet that as well, so if you need the link, we'll tweet that.
You can email me directly at secretary@ramiutdjfc.co.uk, and we'll get you involved.
You just answered the question I was going to ask you, actually. I seem to remember, correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a Ramsbottom United.
This is Ian Cheeseman.
Yeah, it's Ian, yeah.
Ian Cheesy.
You're right. The Ramsbottom United were a club, and you say you're relatively new, and you're Ramsbottom FC. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we've got a senior side that play in Step 4 of the non-league system, the Evo Stick League, and that's been going around for 50 years plus now.
Right.
Chairman Harry Williams is well known in the local area.
You're not separated out like a Glazer out thing with United.
No, nothing like that at all. We consider ourselves as one club, although we do operate under LFA numbers. But the junior section was created about 10 years ago by two chaps who need a special mention, really. One of which is Andy Hall, who has been chairman for those last 10 years, and Chris Standrin, who was the previous secretary. And it was their vision to create a player pathway for local young lads to try and get into semi-pro football and feed our first team with local young talent. And that's starting to pay off. We've had 5 lads play in the first team over the last couple of seasons, one of which, Oliver Standrin, which is Chris Standrin's son, is the first lad to go right the way through the age groups and get a first team appearance, which was against Bernard and John O's Chester FC a couple of weeks ago, who were our previous managers before they were at Salford.
Okay, it's a small world, isn't it?
It is.
Man, we want to thank you for being our first, obviously, team of the week. You've got someone, Ian Cheeseman here, knows your dad. Ian, who's his dad?
Stan Holm was a City player back in the day. I've been at various events where Stan has been there, all former player golf days and stuff like that. Lovely fella. So give him my regards, and it's nice to know.
I spoke to him today and told him that I'd probably be speaking to you. He asked me to ask you if your golf's got any better.
No.
Have you got that money you owe him?
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Well, it's nice to know as well, on a serious note, that what you're doing, as well as supporting players to potentially go into a first team of a club is that it's fanned down to a lot of others. And you know, and I know, that a lot of the people who come along to your clubs, the juniors, are never going to make it.
Yeah,
but actually to be involved,
Yeah,
and
to get to play,
to get the health benefits and the camaraderie and everything like that is just as important as anything else.
Perfect.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely right.
Matt, thank you very much, and all the best. We'll make sure we tweet out the links for people to get involved. And thank you very much for being our first team of the week.
Amazing, that. Cheers,
Cheers,
Matt.
guys. Pleasure.
Cheers,
Thank you very much.
Matt. Oh, wonderful. And if you've got a team of the week you want to submit, if it's just a local team in your area, make sure you tweet me at XS Manchester. We'll get them on. It's just a simple plug to make sure anyone who doesn't know they can get involved in football and any team really. We spoke about it off air. It's not just football, any other sport really. Go on, chuck it in. We'll get stuck in. Gents, one thing that Ian does is he doesn't like to predict any score lines
of individual games.
So we're going to broaden this out, and we're going to do a brand new thing where we're going to predict the goals of the weekend, so the set matches in the Premier League, and the cards, the yellow cards and the red cards combined.
Oh, you want reds as well?
Well, yes, we do reds as well. Throw it all in there. How many red cards do you think there's going to be?
2.
So you've got to predict for me how many goals is going to be in a weekend in the Premier League and how many yellow and red cards is going to be. Alex is going to also get involved. Now, if you don't know, Alex is also part of the Wednesday Club. Him and Steve are on alternative week, so he's messaged his. I'm going to go first with Alex's. Are you ready?
Ready.
He thinks that there's going to be 55 goals this weekend. And this one really got me. I had to double check he wrote it down right. 66 cards.
What?
Is that kind of stuff that you're going for? Right, Ian, what are you going for?
I'm going to go for 35 goals.
Okay, 35, bit less.
20 yellow cards and 2 red.
So that's what 22 in total. And Steve's doing his work.
Your answer now, are you?
Steve's got his pen and paper. What are you doing?
I'm just writing down what I'm going to say. What's the
Can't do that unless he writes it down. He can't speak.
What are you going to say?
Hello, I am Steve.
Zero
red
red
on your piece of paper.
Let's shush. 0 red cards. I think you're living in fantasy land there. 27 yellows. And I'm going for 41 of those glorious goals, 40 of which will be against Leicester. You know what I mean?
Love it. Right, so we're going to keep a tally on that. The closest wins, basically. The closest wins. I think you should get 3 points if you get anything spot on. Okay, so there we go. So we'll keep an eye on that and see who comes out trumps at the end of the season. A couple of things to talk about was our poll of the day just ended. Who will concede more goals in the Premier League this season?
And it is.
We had a lot of votes. 52% of the vote has gone to David De Gea.
52%. It's like Brexit again. It's Brexit all over again.
This is worse. And then Edison on 48. So City fans
4% don't know.
4%. Yeah, and that is that. We're coming
that was
to
a crucial bit. That 4% could have sent it either way.
Let's not get into that. Let's talk then about the game that's coming up: Leicester against Manchester United and Arsenal against Manchester City. The first games for our Manchester clubs in the Premier League. Leicester have a sort of okay season last season.
They're not Leicester.
What I'm saying is you'd expect City, United to beat Leicester.
I do. I got a 2-0 feeling about it. I think it's going to be a clean sheet United, and I think they're just going to score 2 and shut up shop. Is what usually is the plan with Mourinho anyway, is to score quickly and close the door, park the bus, as they say. The weird thing is your opening game, Arsenal. That's a challenge, because they got a new manager. I think they're going to be, they're going to want blood, and it's going to be a good game. I would have thought that.
Hopefully, I mean, just to come back to Leicester against United. Yeah. If you were to say to me, which I thought you would do, who's going to go down? Because you talked about who's going to win the league.
I kind of don't know about going down.
Leicester are my tip to go down.
Leicester are going to go down.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good bit of a tip there for you.
So on that basis, I think United will win comfortably. Now, as far as United, City and Arsenal's concerned, any time of the season other than right at the beginning, I would say that's tough. But actually, I'm hoping and thinking that the fact that Arsenal are a new team with a new manager might actually play into City's hands because City are an established team, established pattern, played well in the Charity Shield, Community Shield, and so and they did well against them last year twice. In a week, they beat them in the cup final and then beating them down there in the league. And I'm expecting the same sort of thing this weekend, to be honest. But if it was 6 weeks into the season and Arsenal had the chance to get going and get a pattern, that would be a tougher game. So actually quite relieved that City play this one early on and get it out the way.
Yeah, and like
Good theory, I get it.
You'll say a lot about the teams of the week, and you see how Arsenal set up. With your eyes, Ian, beyond maybe our Liverpool play, you're just focusing on City.
I think it takes a few weeks before you really get to see how other teams are playing. So at this stage, why worry about anybody else? You just do your own thing.
Suppose West Ham, I've just had a look. Liverpool, West Ham. They're just going to trunch them, I would assume.
As obviously Pellegrini used to be a City manager, do you think what impact is he actually going to have over West Ham? Are you expecting us to be a different force?
The trouble is that West Ham are a little bit of turmoil off the pitch, aren't they? You know, they've had all this aggro about moving into the new stadium. There's a bit of a split.
Is it them with the fans pointing and shouting?
Yeah, absolutely.
Scaring the kids and oh dear.
Yeah,
so scenes, terrible scenes.
Pellegrini was like the oil and the water. He was a calming influence. He was a great manager at City and did very well. If he's allowed to actually be that at West Ham, with a bit of time, I think he can make them all right. But that's a club that's got choppy waters written all over it. So
choppy, oily waters.
Indeed, with Pellegrini's influence. So
with oil in the water, you set fire to it, burns your boat down, mate.
I hope not, because I really like Manuel Pellegrini, but I fear that they could be down there scrapping for survival as well.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Who knows? We're going to go now. Our time is over. I want to give a big shout out to the podcast. Make sure you hit subscribe.
We've got 35 more Wednesday shows to go.
We've only got 45 left. Subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on Twitter as well. What's your Twitter, Ian?
@ Ian Cheeseman.
As simple as that.
Steve Shanyaski.
Steve Shanyaski.
How do you spell that?
I'll ask how to spell Shanyaski. We've only got about half an hour left. And mine is Joe McGrath 95. Find us at Access Manchester as well. We've been a Wednesday Club. Thank you very much. We'll be back next Wednesday, obviously, and we have lots and lots to talk about.
Already.
Download the podcast, subscribe, and watch on YouTube as well. We've filmed every episode. It's going to be on YouTube tomorrow about midday. See you soon.
You're tuned.